Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to this show on the internet that's called Super Breakfast Friends Club.
That's the one that we're in.
I had to think about it.
I'm pretty sure I did get the name of our podcast wrong once when I was talking to my family about it.
On purpose, though, right?
Yeah,
do,
definitely.
do you remember what you called it?
It was close, but it wasn't correct.
My brother, and me.
That's the one. Good podcast, definitely not this that we're doing.
I'm Mike.
And I'm not.
And welcome to the theme song. Oh wait, there wasn't a theme song for this show.
Let's do the Halo theme song.
Okay, sing it with me.
I've had that song stuck in my head the past couple days, and they didn't even play it.
They played like a version of it over the credits.
That's true.
Well, I think they played like the beginning of it in one scene as well, when they first mentioned the Spartans.
Oh yeah. By that point, I was just trying to comprehend what I was watching, so I got a little distracted.
Have you heard of the video game Halo Combat Evolved?
I have heard of it once or twice.
It came out in 2001 on the Xbox. It was made by Bungie, who also made Marathon and Destiny. I'd never played either of those.
Me neither.
And it was published by Microsoft Games. It was one of the Xbox launch titles.
And it took the world by storm, and it especially took my household by storm. I got so tired of looking at that video game.
Oh yeah? Were your brothers into it?
Oh, they were so into it.
I forgot you were an Xbox house at one point.
Yeah, we tried to be a PlayStation house, but my brothers were so scared that the early model PlayStation 2 was going to die because that's just what it did back then.
Oh yeah.
So he traded it in, and he's like, "We're Xbox house now."
Yeah.
And I was like, "My Kingdom Hearts."
I remember you playing Conker on there.
Yeah. I don't know what else I played on the original one.
I think that's the only thing that you ever talked to me about.
That's true, because that was before I was really giving first-person shooters a try. It's like, I'm so tired of Halo. I hate shooting games.
Yeah. Also, like, shooting games with a controller are so hard.
They are if you are bad at video games.
I am.
Me too. I'm just stubborn.
So the game was directed by Bungie co-founder Jason Jones, who is also the co-creator of Marathon, Myth, and Destiny. Myth is another game that Bungie made. I've never really heard of anything they made before Halo, but I've heard of Destiny.
Yeah, that's still a thing. They've got 2 of them.
They have. All I keep hearing is about how they keep annoying everyone I know who plays them with changes that they don't want.
That sounds like every live service video game in the year of our Lord 2023.
It sure does. So after they finished making the second Marathon game in 1995, Bungie started exploring ideas for their next game. They weren't sure if they wanted to make another sequel to Marathon, if they wanted to make something new. And they explored a bunch of different ideas. One of them was a first-person shooter, which was kind of like Quake. And one of them was a vehicle-based combat game. And then they settled on making a real-time strategy game, which ended up being Myth, The Fallen Lords. After Myth, some of the team started working on a sci-fi real-time strategy game using the Myth engine. And that's what gradually morphed into Halo.
Wow.
It started as a real-time strategy game, where you would just be ordering units around from above.
Oh, I just can't get into RTSs.
No, me neither. I tried so hard to like Fire Emblem, but I can't do it.
Is Fire Emblem a real-time strategy game?
Oh, I guess Fire Emblem's turn-based, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I can't
like
do that
turn-based
either.
strategy.
No. I guess I like Pokemon Conquest, but that's because it's easy and for babies.
I know. I got bored playing it and played a better turn-based strategy game.
Oh yeah, you like Final Fantasy Tactics, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I haven't played it. Maybe I'd like it.
I think you would.
Well, maybe I should play it then.
Because you get all kinds of fun classes, and you can min-max your guys so that they're unstoppable beefcakes.
I do like beefcake. It's delicious. Anyway, as they were making this sci-fi strategy game, over time, the camera slowly moved closer and closer to the units that you were controlling until eventually it just turned into a third-person shooter. It went through a lot of possible titles. I have some of them written down here.
Please enlighten me.
The first one was Armor, which is kind of boring.
Yeah.
Then it became Monkey Nuts.
I'm into it.
Then that became Blam with an exclamation mark.
Not into it.
Then, for some reason, the Santa Machine. I know that sounds like a joke I'm making, but it's real.
Yeah, okay.
Then Solopsis. Then the Crystal Palace.
The Crystal Palace?
The Crystal Palace. Hard Vacuum. Star Maker. And Star Shield.
Most of those titles have nothing to do with anything.
No. I really want to know where the Santa Machine came from. I want to know the story behind that. They eventually hired a branding company to come up with a name, because obviously they were struggling.
No.
And that company gave them the name Covenant.
Well, they used that.
They did use it, but not as the title. Bungie artist Paul Russell suggested Halo. And from what I gather, there was some pushback at the studio because it sounded too religious.
I have a fun story about that.
Oh, yeah?
I know I've told you before. This guy I know was telling a story about how he got into the Halo games. He was like 4 years old, and his grandma bought it for him because she thought it was something biblical.
You have told me that before.
And I love it.
It's so innocent and magical.
I mean, it could have been a lot worse. Halo is not a very ultra-violent game, so...
No, it is quite tame. The funny thing is, like, the villains are the religious ones in Halo.
Yeah.
So the game was originally planned to be an open-world game with destructible environments and dynamic weather, and it was going to be released for PC and Mac. Which, you know, at the time, a game being released on the Mac was super rare.
That's true. Today it's super rare.
I think it's more common now, but...
But that's not a fun joke. We have to dump on Apple any chance we get. PC Master Race.
So, Myth 2 launched while they were working on Halo, and it launched with a major bug, and it had to be recalled.
Oh no.
It would delete all the contents of the directory it was installed to.
What?
I don't know exactly. When it says directory, I don't know if that means the entire drive or what. I don't know if it means all the program files, but it's a pretty bad bug either way, really.
How did that happen?
Yeah, I don't know. Them having to recall all the copies and fix the bug drained their funds to like a dangerously low level. They had to sell a share of the company and the publishing rights for their games to Take-Two Interactive. And then Take-Two sold those to Microsoft, who bought Bungie in full in 2000 because they were looking for software to prop up the Xbox. Because that's the thing, like Microsoft decided they wanted to make a console, but like they weren't a gaming company, so they really had to scrabble to find some games for it.
So they dug this out of the dumpster.
Yeah, they bought a lot of like big companies at the time. Like they bought Rare around the same time as this.
R.I.P.
Yeah, sorry, Rare. Yeah, they also mishandled almost everything they bought pretty terribly.
Pretty infamously.
So while they were repurposing the game for the Xbox, that's when the game became a first-person game now. So there are videos of third-person Halo out there. You can watch. There's a presentation where the game is introduced by Steve Jobs as a new Mac game, and it's a third-person Halo. All of the Xbox's planned tentpole games fell through.
I'm sorry, I got distracted because I was like, what point of view is Halo in?
Oh, it's first person.
That's what I thought. But I was having a complete Mandela effect where I was like, wait a second. Did you play the multiplayer in third person? I can't remember anything.
No, you're getting confused because you're thinking of all the Rooster Teeth videos.
Probably. I did watch some Red versus Blue back in the day.
Yeah. You could easily trick yourself into thinking that the game was third person based on those memories.
Based on the fact that you've seen the character models more often than not.
Yeah. So when the Xbox was coming out, Microsoft had a bunch of planned tentpole releases, and Halo was brought in just as like an extra side one. It was supposed to just be like a little game that wouldn't get that much attention.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any of the planned tentpole games actually came out. They all fell through for various reasons. They had made a huge deal with Steven Spielberg to make several games based on his movie Artificial Intelligence.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know. Didn't that movie not do very well? I can't remember. I've never seen it.
No, I don't think it did. I remember people being wildly disappointed when it came out. Didn't they learn from the last Steven Spielberg movie they tried to turn into a video game?
What was that?
Just thinking of E.T.
Spielberg, what are you doing to the video game industry?
Getting buried in the desert for 30 years? I think it was like the expectation was not met, and that is what made people initially upset. But then once they cooled down and stopped frothing at the mouth about this Haley Joel Osment movie, they're like, oh, I guess it's not really that bad. Which is something that I am guilty of in the past.
Yeah. I feel like I need to watch it now, having looked at this. Anyway, that's not what we're doing here today.
We're not reviewing Artificial Intelligence?
We can. I haven't seen it, have you?
Yes, but it's been many, many years.
What score would you give it out of 10?
Let's give it a 7.
That's the end of our show. Yeah, so once all those tentpole games were cancelled, it became clear that Halo was going to have to fill the role of tentpole game, which meant that they had 1 year to finish it in time for the console launch.
Oh no.
So the plans for the open world were dropped, the story was shortened considerably. They reused a lot of maps by having the player go back through areas they'd already been through, and they rewrote a lot of the script to smooth over parts that were missing. I would say you don't really notice that playing it. I have played the first Halo, and I never got the sense that there were massive chunks of it missing.
Yeah, it doesn't feel incomplete.
No, so they did a good job with that smoothing over, I guess. They dropped the online multiplayer because Xbox Live wasn't ready. In the last 4 months of development, they just deleted the entire multiplayer mode and redesigned it from scratch because they realized it wasn't fun. So it just had LAN. You could only play it local area network.
Oh yeah, my brothers used to have Halo parties.
Yeah, I only played it on the PC version, by which point they had put online multiplayer in, so...
No, he had his friends bringing over their Xboxes. We would hook them up on our spare tiny little TV where you gotta squint to play it.
I forgot that the Xbox, we weren't in HD yet, were we?
No.
It wasn't until the next generation that we had HD. And even then I didn't have HD for like half of the 360's life.
Well, that, and it was the early 2000s, so these big screen TVs were still inaccessible to most households, as spares, I mean. So we just had like our spare little kitchen TV, which was no bigger than a computer monitor.
Yep. No, bigger in screen size, but much bigger in chunk.
Girthy.
It was a real... It was a Herculean task to drag your portable TV around back in those days.
It sure was. The good old cathode ray tube.
I'm coming over and I'm bringing the box of tubes. Halo did a pretty good job resisting meddling from Microsoft executives, which we can't say about many of the Xbox's games.
No.
Because I've heard
Microsoft has stuck its fingers in deep now.
Yeah, well, I've heard stories about some of the original Xbox games and the horrible things that happened to the developers, mostly at Rare. I've also heard a lot about meddling in ToeJam 3, which was brought to the Xbox.
I forgot that existed.
Yeah, Microsoft were insisting that it be more like Donkey Kong 64 for some reason. Which is why it plays nothing like a ToeJam game. Microsoft executives were demanding that the name be changed. They compromised on that by adding Combat Evolved to the title. That's why it's called that. That was executive meddling.
But why?
I guess the executives didn't think that the name conveyed what kind of game it was. Which, who cares?
That's what the back of the box is for.
Even the front of the box, I feel like, gives you a pretty good idea.
What? Just because Spaceman Master Chief is on it, you think that conveys anything about the spacefaring adventures of Halo?
He's holding a gun.
He's got a helmet.
I think there were some vehicles behind him. I can't remember.
Probably a foreign planet.
Yeah. According to Ed Fries, who was the Microsoft exec in charge of video games at the time, one of the executives, did what they called a color palette analysis, and they determined that Halo was using the wrong colors compared to other competing games.
What do you mean wrong colors?
I don't know what that means. Apparently he didn't either, and he said, this is his words, he told them to take a hike, and he never even passed that information on to Bungie.
Oh yeah, we need your game to be significantly more brown. We see all your competitors are entering a brown phase.
Yeah, because Halo is it's very like blue, green, and purple, right?
Yeah, like you're on an alien planet, but it's full of life.
Yeah. Well, apparently it was supposed to be more full of life. At some point in development, it was full of like alien fauna.
Ooh.
But they all got removed because they thought that having aliens native to the Halo already stepped on the reveal of the Flood later on in the story.
Mm.
And I can see that. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Because if you think it's just you and the Covenant on this ring world, you're not going to be as surprised to see the third faction if you've already seen a bunch of aliens around.
The gross zombies.
Yeah. I forgot they were in it, honestly.
They're pretty much the only thing I remember about Halo.
Yeah, I used to, because I mostly watched my friend play through the story, and I think it was the first game that he played that had like horror elements, and he was getting a bit freaked out by it, but every time the Flood showed up, I would do silly voices for them, and he told me it made him feel better about playing the game.
That's cute. Meanwhile, I'm like, get this Covenant out of there. I want the gross monsters. I want to crawl around in the filth.
I just thought the Flood were funny. I always thought they were funny. They were like wiggly and woogly. I know that you know what I mean by that, and the audience can figure it out.
I do because I know you, but I don't because I don't remember what the... Okay, I understand 100%.
Oh, did you look him up?
Picture of the Flood.
Yeah, that's how I would describe that creature. It's wiggly and woogly.
Yeah, the Wooglers.
Anyway, apparently Halo was not an instant success on release, which I'm going to say is probably because the Xbox itself was not an instant success on release.
I think that's a safe bet.
But apparently most Xbox consoles were sold with a copy of Halo, more than half of them. If people were buying an Xbox, they were most likely buying a copy of Halo with it. And after 5 months, they sold 1 million copies. Apparently, it's the second best-selling game of that console generation, like across all 3 consoles.
What's the first?
Do you want to have a guess?
Kingdom Hearts.
You wish. No, as soon as I tell you what this is, you're gonna realize that that's what it was.
It's probably a Nintendo game, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I always forget just how crazy well those games sold.
I know.
Because I personally never got it. But people love it.
Yeah, I get it. But that's because I live where they made it. The thing is, I think that Grand Theft Auto's popularity here is for a different reason than it is in America. Because when they made Grand Theft Auto, it's a game that was intended as making fun of America.
Mm-hmm.
It's a game written by some Scottish guys, and they are absolutely mercilessly tearing into American culture throughout the entire series.
So you guys see it as satirical, and we see it as wish fulfillment.
Exactly. It is it's intended as satirical. And it's so funny to me that so many Americans don't realize that. But hey, if it sells, right?
I am most familiar with, I think, Grand Theft Auto 3. And everybody I knew who played it, I don't even know if they played through the story or if they just skipped through it, but it's all about putting in the cheat codes and murdering everybody.
Oh, yeah. I've only ever played it once, and I just immediately put in the cheat code that gave me a tank, and then I drove around.
Yeah.
I'll play them someday. I should play them.
I mean, apparently Grand Theft Auto 5 is so good they've sold it to us 87 different times.
Yeah, it's the Skyrim of I want to say Naughty Dog, but that's not the right studio. Rockstar, there we go.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I should know Rockstar. I live in the town that they were founded in.
You're sitting over there bragging about rubbing elbows with them and you don't even know their name.
I've only met one of them.
Mr. Rockstar himself.
Yes. No, I've forgotten his name. Wah, wah.
What if his name, first name Rock, last name Star?
That's a Kirby character. So the most recent Halo game, when this show was made, was Halo 3 ODST, which released about 2 months before this show came out.
So I was all ready to stand next to you and be like, yeah, I have no idea what Halo's even is because I only barely played the first one. But watching the show awakened a primal memory that I've actually beaten Halo 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was playing it with Jen and we completely skipped over the story, but I have technically beaten Halo 3.
Ah, so you'll probably understand this better than I did.
I don't understand a single thing.
This show aired on Halo Waypoint, which is the official Halo website, and it aired on November 7th, 2009. It was overseen by 343 Industries, a company that Microsoft set up in 2007 specifically to continue development of the Halo brand, because Bungie had just become an independent company again. They were off starting to work on Destiny, I guess. Apparently the idea evolved out of the Halo graphic novel, which was a 2006 anthology comic book made by Marvel, and 343 wanted to make more short stories in the Halo universe outside of just making video games. And they thought anime was the best way to go.
You know, Halo is kind of a weird series for me because theoretically I should know a lot more about it than I do. Because you just reminded me that I watched that who was it, Polygon he used to work for, video about the guy reading every Halo novel and talking about them.
Oh.
Like, my life it's had Halo just constantly in its atmosphere, and yet I've never absorbed a single piece of knowledge about it.
That's how I feel about something. I'm trying to think. There's definitely something that I have that's equivalent to that. Oh, Transformers! That's what it is. That's how I feel about Transformers. It's like always been present. I don't know a thing about it.
Mm-hmm. So, like, when I made that joke yesterday about John Halo, and you're like, did you know that was his name? I'm like, huh, I guess I did. And the more we talk about it, the more these dormant memories come back to the surface.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have heard of Halo, haven't I?
When 343 went around asking studios to work on this, most of them said yes. Like, immediately were excited to work on the project, but they were nervous about making their own stories up. Even the ones that were familiar with the series didn't want to write their own stories for it. So 343 provided them with scripts, concept art, and the series Bibles and everything, but left them a lot of artistic freedom to interpret the world however they wanted. All but one of the Halo Legends episodes are considered canon.
Is it the one we watched?
No, the one that isn't canon is like a very clear joke episode, apparently.
Okay.
It's like a parody episode, so I'm sure we'll watch it at some point. The one we watched is called The Babysitter. This one was animated by Studio 4 Degrees C. I'm assuming that's how you say it. This was not their first anime anthology project. They've done a lot of those. They're actually kind of known for it.
Oh, anything we would have heard of?
Some stuff I've heard of. They did Digital Juice, Sweat Punch, and Genius Party, which are pretty good short film anthologies. I recommend... Well, I've only seen Digital Juice, but I recommend it. But also, yes, they animated 4 of the shorts in The Animatrix, and they animated 2 of the shorts in Batman Gotham Knight.
Ooh.
And they also worked on Green Lantern Emerald Knights, which is a Green Lantern anthology film. Everyone was making anthology anime films at this period.
I feel like we don't really see those anymore.
No, The Animatrix started it, and then everybody got in on it for a little while, and then they kind of went away.
Sad.
It is. We should get more of those, please. I mean, I guess, isn't that basically what Love, Death, and Robots is?
That was the first thing that I thought of, too.
Yeah. I guess they release them as episodes, but it's basically an anthology short film, I guess.
Loosely tied under the theme of Love, Death, and Robots.
Yeah. This studio also animated the short film that came out to promote Kid Icarus Uprising. And they did the cutscenes for Street Fighter 4, Catherine, and Tokyo Mirage Sessions, #FE.
Ooh.
Tokyo Mirage Sessions is a Fire Emblem game, but you wouldn't know it.
No, it doesn't sound anything like one.
It's the one where it's like set in the modern day or the near future or something, and these Shibuya teens summon Fire Emblem characters.
How many Marths are in it?
At least 6.
Okay.
Yeah, who's your favorite Marth? Mine is Roy.
I like the Marth Robin.
Oh yeah, Robin's a pretty good Marth. No, you know what? I don't think Robin is the Marth of that game. There's another one.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I think you are the Marth in that one, and Robin is your support character.
That sounds right, yeah. Or is that the one
Whatever.
with Lucina? Is Lucina the Marth of the game that she's in?
Lucina might be the Marth, but you know what? Robin is an honorary Marth.
Okay. He's the only one in Smash Brothers who isn't a Marth, I think. All of the others in Smash Brothers are a Marth.
The only one that isn't a Marth in both playstyle and aesthetics.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, the babysitter. We have no opening to speak of. We just kind of dropped right into it on a ship.
We're in space.
We're in space. And there's a ton of soldiers getting food at a cafeteria. This cafeteria has so many food options. It's
the future.
It's all I could think about was how much choice these soldiers have.
They have all got to be paralyzed with choice.
Yeah, I have never seen a cafeteria with this many options. It's crazy.
It's like when you go to the Cheesecake Factory and they give you a menu that's 87 pages long.
Really? I thought they just had cheesecake.
No, they have like 3 pages dedicated to cheesecake alone. You still have to choose an entree. They bring this unholy tome to you.
Wow.
And it's so girthy and there's so many options and I just want a hamburger.
Please direct me to the hamburger chapter.
Book 3, the Book of Hamburger.
You want the sequel. There's a theme for a restaurant.
Narrow it down for me?
I just want a restaurant where they make me read an entire novel to find my... Where all the food options are presented as dialogue. Nobody would eat
that. No! If I had to read a novel, I would starve to death. Do you know how many books are sitting untouched on my bookshelf?
Yes. We have a guy here. His name is Burger, and he wants to go eat with the ODSTs.
I forgot his name is Burger.
His name's Burger.
That was the name of my character in Pokemon Crystal.
Oh, yeah. You know what's great, though?
What?
His name's Burger, and that's, like, absolutely nothing compared to the name of the guy who played him.
Do go on.
George Manley.
What a good name.
It's a great name.
I would love to marry into that last name.
He is known for playing Darius in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and he plays Hachi and Cricket in One Piece. I don't know any of those characters, but good for him.
No, but I've heard the names.
I know the names of the shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're obviously trying to set up the ODSTs here as the cool guys of the military. Because Burger gets dragged away by his friend because he's not cool enough to sit with them.
No, they're the Hell Jumpers.
Yeah. ODST stands for Orbital Drop Shock Trooper, apparently.
Okay, thank you, because they never elaborate on that.
No, we're supposed to know it.
Yeah, you are supposed to go into this with a full encyclopedia of lore in your head.
Yeah. They're called that, I guess, because they just get dropped from space into the battle with no, like, in-between. Which sounds nuts to me.
They just open up the hatches and drop them down.
Yeah, the hatches are open.
Fox, that was one of ours.
One of the ODSTs is pissed off because he's not going to be the lead shooter on the mission.
He's the worst and I don't like him.
Yeah. Yeah,
and he's like half the size of everyone else.
I know,
he's a baby.
He's the twinkiest twink.
The smooth body little twink sandwiched between all these big burly men.
Yes, his name is O'Brien, and he's played by Blake Shepard.
Oh, right.
So played Alan Ridgely in the Xenosaga TV show, Hisashi in Haikyuu, and Soma in Food Wars. The other two people sitting at the table are Dutch and Checkman. Dutch is played by Rob Mungle.
Cool.
Who played Guile in the Street Fighter 2 anime. and Igaram
we'll
in
get
One
to
Piece.
it.
Oh, we'll get to it. Don't worry about that, everybody.
I'm excited.
Checkman is played by Mark Adley. This is the only IMDb credit he has, and all Checkman does in this whole thing is scream, so...
That's what I would want for my career in voice acting.
So then another guy comes and joins them, and this is Cortez. Cortez is played by Caleb Martinez, who played Rat in something called Number 6, Takuya in something called The Place Promised in Our Early Days. That's about it. Not much else.
Cool.
A lot of these actors mostly just do additional voices in things, so there's not much I can say.
Mm-hmm.
Cortez tells O'Brien that the shooter who's replacing him is a Spartan, and then everybody gets all moody about that.
We're never told what that means, because we're expected to know.
Yeah, we're supposed to know everything about Halo and everything about everything.
We're not the target audience of this anime, clearly.
No. And this is, I didn't mention it, but there's some debate about what counts as the first episode. This is the first one that was released, but on the DVDs, this is the 7th one.
Okay.
And the first one is called Origins, and it is basically an explainer of Halo lore, which does serve as a better opening for the series. So we will watch that at some point.
Okay.
But I wanted us to cover the first one that was actually released rather than the one that they decided later was a better fit for the first one.
Because it actually introduces you to the world if you're unfamiliar with it.
Yeah. I wanted us to go straight.
Concept.
I want us to go straight into this. I mean, I get they were being shown on the website, so if you're going to the official website, you probably know what a Halo is.
That's true.
Whereas if you might pick up the DVD and have no idea what it is, so I understand why they reordered them for the DVD.
For sure.
Anyway, a Spartan is an augmented super soldier like Captain America, but in a suit of armor.
Yeah, now it's John Halo.
Yeah. So now it's time for the briefing part, where an unnamed officer played by James Faulkner, who played Helmer in the Xenosaga TV show and Rex in something called God Thinks You're a Loser. He's giving them a briefing. He tells us that the Spartan's name is Cal-141.
That's a pretty name.
It is a pretty name. I don't know about you, but I kind of tuned out a lot of the briefing.
I was really hoping that you took some notes because I don't remember a single thing from this part.
I have such a hard time paying attention to dry exposition like this.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's basically he just stands there and tells us the plot of the show we're about to watch.
It's not a particularly interesting scene.
What I did take from it was that they are trying to disrupt the Covenant's supply chain by assassinating a prophet.
Yes.
So I think the prophets are like the leaders of the Covenant. I know that their structure is basically religious. And I know that they're made up of a lot of different races that have been assimilated into the religion. They're not a very subtle metaphor.
I don't understand. Who could it be?
Oh, you know what? I looked into it because I was wondering, why do the ODSTs not like Spartans? And I mean, I guess a part of it comes down to the Spartans.
Penis envy?
Well, yeah. The Spartans are sort of a replacement for them. I think there aren't that many Spartans. There's only kind of a handful of them, but, they're kind of purpose designed to be better than a regular human.
They're super soldiers.
Yeah. But, the backstory I found for why ODSTs don't like Spartans was a lot sillier and goofier than that.
Well, now you have to share.
Apparently, it's because one time, Master Chief was using the gym on a certain ship that he was on, and he forgot to put a pin back in the weights when he was done. So the weight collapsed and nearly hurt one of the ODST's feet. And then he got into a fist fight with them over it, and he killed a bunch of them.
Is that canon?
I think it is.
Oh no. Oh, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, in the comments, let us know, but that's what I read on the wiki, so I'm assuming it's real.
And fan wikis are never wrong.
It's so funny because just saying, they don't like that they feel like they're being replaced by the Spartans would have been enough. That would have sold me on them not liking Spartans.
Mm-hmm.
But then this, ridiculous backstory.
They saw what a hard body he had, and they got so jealous they died.
So the ODSTs are going to fly in during a meteor shower for cover, is what I picked up. They're told that the place they're going to isn't human or Covenant, and it seems to predate both cultures.
It is, in fact, Japan.
Yeah. Apparently, in the DVD commentary, Frank O'Connor, who is the Halo franchise director, said that this was very important for the future storyline of the franchise.
I don't quite understand how it could be that important, because I feel like nothing really happened in this episode.
Well, just like the idea of these ruins that predated both cultures.
Okay.
From what I could tell, it sounds like this was the first hint towards a prehistoric human civilization existing, which is something they explored more in the Forerunner novel series and a little bit in Halo 4 as well. Basically, they find out that there was a whole civilization of humans in, unrecorded prehistory.
Okay.
And they were space traveling.
So it probably was Japan.
Yeah. But that doesn't really make any sense, because it implies that Japanese people would just always build buildings like that. With
Forever and always.
With no outside influence.
I mean, the pagoda structure of these ruins is so specific that, what else could it be?
I know. And the Buddha statue.
The Buddhist temple.
Just by coincidence, Japan happened to develop in the exact same way. It's just coincidence.
Yeah. Two civilizations
with no knowledge of each other.
The exact same way. What if Buddha is a space alien?
Oh my god. Are we on Twitter right now?
No, Elon won't let me on Twitter anymore.
Are we on the History Channel?
Ancient aliens.
Yes, it's ancient aliens. They leave on their little funny one-man shuttle pod things, and they fly through the meteors, except Checkman, who crashes and dies.
Good for him.
Good for him. He got his one line in.
I forgot he died before they even got onto the planet.
Yeah, he doesn't do shit. So the others all land on the planet, and they get out of their pods. Dutch and Cortez find O'Brien's pod, damaged and sinking in a swamp. And as they're scrabbling to try and break him out of it, they try to get some tools to open it up. The Spartan just walks over and just kind of tosses it aside out of the swamp.
That felt really unnecessary.
Yeah, they could have just carried it.
Right. Clearly they're strong enough to haul it up out of the mud in the first place, and knowing that their crewmate is still alive inside, it's probably not the best idea to
throw it,
spin them willy-nilly through the air before landing on the hard ground, but what do I know?
You're not a Spartan. This is why you're not a Spartan.
This is the one and only reason why I'm not a Spartan.
Because you would not have thrown that pod.
No, I would have hauled it through the muck. is a strategic failure. If we've learned anything from Bayou Billy.
What did we learn from Bayou Billy?
That sometimes there are apes in trees handing out first aid kits.
Yeah, that's what they should have been doing.
If you stretch a snake, it glows.
He's sinking in the swamp. Quick, knock on that tree.
See if there's a friendly ape that'll help.
Maybe there's a whip in it.
Shoot the star.
I forgot about the star.
The one and only thing that is true from the video game.
But they didn't do it the same way, because he didn't shoot it.
He had to pick it up.
Go watch our Captain N episode about the Bayou Billy show.
Our Captain N episode.
Good one. That's making it into the final cut.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be famous.
There was more briefing here, more stuff for me to tune out.
We're not good at our job.
I don't know what the plan is. I don't care what the plan is.
Our job is to watch cartoon, and we didn't even do that good.
Hey, we watched all of it. I just don't know what the plan is. I don't have to shoot the guy. As long as they get it done, it's fine.
What if you were the third redundancy?
What if the DVD just reaches a certain point and then you have to answer trivia to make the story continue? I love, as they're going over the plan, the Spartan is just standing nearby looking disinterested into the distance.
Yeah.
They never say anything.
The Spartan doesn't seem like they want to be there.
No, I think the Spartan could have done this on their own. If
Easily.
I'm being honest.
I think it would have been more successful if the Spartan had done it on their own.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't seem like the rest of this team is necessary.
Or competent.
No, they cause more problems than they solve. O'Brien is still not convinced that the Spartan can make the shot. I don't know what he's done.
Yeah, we've never seen him shoot. We've just heard him brag about it.
Yeah, he just won't shut up about how good he is. So they find some kind of old abandoned town, and there's a grunt in there. And, the part where the Spartan sneaks into the room and kills the grunt? Was it just me, or did you think that the grunt's scream was a little bit too comedic? We watched the Spartan slip a knife into the grunt's head.
Yeah.
And he's just like...
Oh, no! It did feel like, even though they weren't really shy about depicting violence, it almost felt like they didn't really want to. So whenever they did, it was always, you would see it briefly, or you would have a goofy little grunt noise.
Oh, yeah, I wonder if it's... I wonder if that's a disconnect between the Japanese animators and the American sound editors.
Probably.
Yeah, while the Spartan is committing brutal murder upon the cute, goofy comedy enemies,
it felt bad.
It
I
did
know
feel
they're
bad.
the enemies, but grunts are just little doofuses.
Yeah, they're little doofuses, and the specific way that they were dealt with here just felt too harsh.
Excessive.
It was like watching a toad get stabbed in the head.
Yeah.
It's like watching a Goomba just get stabbed up.
It's like those pictures of ultra realistic violence of Mario stomping on Goombas.
Yeah, they're always a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But while that's happening, the ODSTs are getting ambushed by a brute, and the Spartan comes out to save them, because that's all the Spartan does. It just saves the ODSTs over and over again.
Full team of elite soldiers, and they're constantly getting saved by one person.
Yeah.
Just bumbling around.
Yeah, O'Brien falls off a waterfall.
Drops his gun.
Yeah, loses his gun down the river. What an idiot. I'm so good at shooting, guys. I don't have a gun, but...
Oh, it's slippery. Whoops.
He can't even be the backup shooter anymore because he doesn't have a gun. So
Go home, O'Brien.
Yeah, you're here for no reason, O'Brien. Anyway, it turns out that O'Brien managed to cling onto a teeny tiny rock. So the Spartan kicks the brute over the waterfall and then catches on to O'Brien and drags him out.
You can just sense his pathetic, whiny body clinging there.
Yeah, I did like that. After that, O'Brien continues to bitch, and Dutch points out that the Spartan has already saved O'Brien's life twice, and O'Brien hasn't said thank you or anything.
It's been less than 10 minutes, and his life has been saved twice.
Yeah. So they sneak into some ruins that has a good view of the landing area, I guess, down below, and they set up to wait for the Prophet to show up. And as the ship lands and the Spartan prepares, we see that there's something sneaking up behind him.
What could it be?
It's that same brute from before. You can tell it's the same brute because its eye is fucked.
Yeah, it's all stabbed up in red.
Yeah. I did like that in the first-person shots from the brute's point of view, that half of the screen is red.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. So O'Brien's just looking down below with a little telescope thing, and the Spartan has some kind of lightning reflex moment where they spin around and see the brute about to smash O'Brien in the side of the head with a giant hammer, and the Spartan shoves O'Brien aside and takes the hit instead. It's pretty good. I like the way it was animated.
Yeah, but by this point I'm so tired of watching this entire squad be useless.
Yeah, this entire squad just kind of... This is if you're playing this game, you're playing as the Spartan, right? So this is the escort mission.
This is the second half of Silent Hill 4, where you and Eileen Galvin are walking around together. She's got her broken arm and she can't climb ladders.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is.
Yeah. So then the Spartan gets whacked to hell.
Yeah, meanwhile the Prophet is disembarking the ship. We can see that it's almost too late. We're watching it happen. It keeps cutting between the two scenes. The ODSTs take down the brute just by smothering him, basically.
Right.
They just cover him fully with their bodies.
It's like when bees gather around a hornet and they burn it to death with the power of friendship.
Yeah. Actually, how did they finish it off? Did they shoot it in the face?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. All I remember is them, each one grabs, a leg or an arm or something, and they just drag it to the ground.
They just pull it apart. They quarter it.
Yeah. So with the brute down, they pull the helmet off the Spartan, and they reveal the reason that we have been using gender-neutral pronouns.
It's a lady.
It's a lady.
It's the best twist that there ever could be.
What is Cal short for?
Calliope.
Oh, I like that. That's canon now.
Okay. As canon as Master Chief at the gym.
The Spartan is played by Emily Neves, who was the original voice of Setsuko in the very first English dub of Grave of the Fireflies. She played Mihoshi in Nichijou, my personal favorite anime. And she plays Eri in My Hero Academia. So she, I think, has had one of the more prolific careers of the people in this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I guess some of them were in One Piece, but whatever.
There was that guy that screamed.
Oh, yeah? This is his claim to fame. I'm the guy what died in the beginning of The Babysitter.
The babysitter.
So she's obviously dying. She tells O'Brien to take the shot because she can't now. I guess narratively this makes sense, but with how much of a little bitch he's been through this whole thing, I'm kind of sad that he's getting to actually do it after all.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked them to the Spartan succeeds and he goes home and continues stewing about it.
Mm-hmm. She's done all the work so far. The fact that she doesn't get the final shot is disappointing.
Yeah, she also died because of him.
Mm-hmm.
She died to save him from dying. Anyway, he takes the shot and he kills the prophet. Blah, blah, blah. It's weird that there seems to be, like, no repercussions to that.
Yeah.
Like,
And if there are, we don't get to see it.
you would think that their position would get swarmed. Like, they've just killed one of the leaders. You'd think everyone else down there would be straight up there to try and kill him.
At least some stray shots in that direction.
Yeah, but they kill the prophet, and then it seems like nothing happens after that. And they just kind of, like, chat with the dying Spartan for a little bit and then casually go home.
Yep.
She gives them a chip that has all the data on the ruins on it and tells Cortez to get it to Halsey. Halsey, I looked this up. Halsey is the scientist who was responsible for creating the Spartans.
Okay.
I think Cortana is, like, based on Halsey. In universe, I mean, not in real life, obviously.
I forgot there's now a real life equivalent.
Oh yeah, no, me too. That's not what I meant. But yeah, I forgot that Microsoft called their Siri Cortana.
Mm-hmm.
So they go home, and we're back on that ship from the beginning.
And we're back with Burger.
Burger's back. This time, nobody smart was there to stop him from sitting down with the ODSTs.
And he immediately starts running his mouth.
Yeah, he gets all dismissive about the Spartan that died. So they pelt him with the apples that he gave them. O'Brien has some flashbacks about his one true love, the Spartan that he saw the face of for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got a long, sad shot of the mysterious planet they went to. And then that's the end.
The end.
Fiend. Did you like it?
No, not really.
It was kind of dull.
It was kind of dull. It was kind of cliche.
I can understand why they wanted to lead with this one, because this one's very focused on ODSTs, and it was 2 months after Halo 3 ODST came out.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. But you can tell it's definitely made for people who are already very deep into the lore. It's not made to introduce people to Halo.
No.
And I guess it's a prequel. It has to be a prequel to everything else, I think. Though I'm not clear. So if I'm wrong about that, go ahead and let me know. I'm pretty sure it's a prequel. Because I think Halo 3 ODST was a prequel to Halo 1. And then this is a prequel to that. So
I don't know. It's very confusing.
I think that's right. But also, I also mix up Halo 3 ODST and Halo Reach. I don't know which one is which. I think they're the same game, but they're not. They're two games.
Yeah. This is far beyond my knowledge.
I just know stuff from Joe, and I don't know enough.
Oh yeah, I forgot Joe's a big Halo.
He wants to... That's what he said. He said that if he's ever going to guest on the show, he wants it to be on a Halo episode.
Tough.
Take that, Joe. We did it without you.
And it's great quality content of an hour of us going,
Yeah, I don't know anything about this.
What's a Halo? Master Sneef?
You sound like Big the Cat then.
I am Big the Cat.
Oh, I didn't know.
No, you do.
So would you like to know what I was able to find out about the legacy of this?
Does Calliope come back to life?
No. But the planet that they went to here gets mentioned again in Halo Evolutions, a short story collection released in 2009, which was just a few weeks after this episode aired.
How do we know it's the same place?
Because they said the name of it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and the short story that mentions it is presented as an email conversation between two scientists who are studying ancient ruins on different planets. But it seems like this is only like mentioned in passing.
not that important in the grand scheme of things.
Also, I forgot to mention, I guess this isn't a legacy of this short because this short came out after the game, but Dutch, who was on the team, is actually a character from Halo 3 ODST.
Oh, that's fun.
He's the only one who is, and he doesn't look or sound the same, but apparently it's him.
That's interesting.
He has the same name.
They went out of their way to include the same character, but didn't want him to be recognizable in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, he doesn't have the same voice actor, and in this show he was blonde, and in the game he has brown hair. But apparently it's supposed to be him. The wiki has all their histories together as one character, so...
Okay.
I don't really have anything else to say about this.
No, me neither. This was kind of a drag to get through.
It was. This was a dry one. Sorry, Halo fans. We'll try to like the next one more.
Yeah, I'm sure some of the other episodes are better.
Yeah. When I want to see Halo stuff, I just want to see Master Chief doing things. I don't think any of these are that.
It's all some losers.
I think the problem is, when you think about Halo, you think about the Spartans, and you expect to see Spartans doing more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the trouble is, there aren't that many Spartans. I looked it up, there's like 30 of them. And most of them already have like established histories and stuff. And most of them have things that they're doing already. That means that when you want to tell side stories like this, you kind of have to make it about characters other than the Spartans, and characters other than the Spartans are just boring military guys.
Like, I get the logic behind it, because they've built a pretty robust world, and so there's more to it than just the Spartans. So it's not like they have to only tell stories about Master Chief. It's just, it doesn't make for the most interesting content for people that aren't absorbed in the lore.
That's true. You know, thinking about it, if they did some shorts about some of the aliens, I'd probably be more into that.
Yeah.
I'm having a look. Okay, yeah, there are some that are just about aliens.
Those are probably better.
Yeah, we'll look at some of those at some point. Everyone out there, thanks for joining us. Sorry about this episode.
We did not personally create it, so please direct your ire elsewhere.
If you'd like to support this mess, please consider going to www.patreon.com/superbreakfastfriendsclub and sniffing our goods.
Please don't touch, only sniff. What about the coffee?
Coffee.com/superbreakfastfriendsclub as well. You can go to there. Money can be exchanged for goods and services.
Or more of our stupid voices.
Especially that. More so that than the goods and services, really.
But we'll exchange your money for goods and services because we need microphones.
We do need microphones. Perhaps even an advertising budget. Would you ever want to see our faces on a bus? That won't happen either way. But still.
I wonder how much it costs to put your face on a bus.
See, you say that, and now I'm picturing, like, I want my face on a bus in the style of Thomas the Tank Engine's face on a train.
No.
I want my face stretched over the grill.
I don't think anybody wants to see that. I don't think we would ever have the budget to break the laws of decency like that.
No, like, links or logos or anything, just that.
It's up to people to solve the mystery.
No one's gonna
Why
know.
does this horrible nightmare bus keep driving around town?
Yeah, why? It's scaring me, Mom.
I see it in my dreams.
Bye!
but nothing happened.
No, I know.